You see what North Korea did?
Oh yeah, they sent some guys over to Ukraine, from what I understand. I supposedly, I don't, it's right around 12,000, or it's supposed to lead up to amount of 12,000.
So
I don't know if the front yet, but I know that from what I heard, they got to make it five. From what I heard, five different Russian bases training to get ready to send over to Ukraine. You know, here's the funny thing about that is everybody know the Ukraine, but the North Koreans have outdated shit. These motherfuckers are malnourished like a motherfucker, and so everybody's now, oh my god, the North Koreans are coming. Now we got to send our troops. I mean, the Russians had their guys over there, and they got well over what, maybe 600,000 troops, I guess, supposedly in that. What the fuck do you think the North Koreans are gonna do? You think that's the answer? That these guys are gonna break the stalemate? I mean, come on.
no,
I think they brought him in as cannon fodder, more or less.
so very well that could be it. But I do think the region is an intelligent region. You know what I mean? And so I think it's easy to give off, hey, how could we get some troops in here and not push a conflict that we couldn't handle at this moment? So, if I'm not mistaken, we've had Chinese nationals working in North Korea, or maybe it's slaves from North Korea working in China. I can't remember which one it is, and I really don't care. But one of the two. All I know is there's been travel between the two countries, and one of the other has had nationals working in it. With that being said, is it that far of a reach to say that, hey, maybe those aren't North Korean troops? Maybe those are Chinese troops, a country with way more expendable army, dressed up as North Koreans, going over there. And yeah, I'm not saying that it makes it any better. Also, too, though, to speak against the one point you just had, I think the malnourished has more to do with the general population, and I think the military. I think Kim Jong Un is smart enough to keep his military well fed, so because that's his defense. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
you don't starve the horse that you ride every day. You know, you gotta make sure that the horses can take what you're gonna give. And I don't mean to compare people to horses. That's not my point either. I don't agree with how they're treated, but I think he's smart enough to keep his military well rounded, in opposed to malnourishing them. And I could be completely wrong, but I do think that I didn't think that this whole North Korea thing was going to happen for like another 2 months. I thought that was going to happen at the end of the year, from what I was reading.
Dude, when you really look at it, other than the Korean War, which happened in the 50s,
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the North Koreans, from what we supposedly know, haven't fought a war or been anywhere else to fight. So you think about it, he'd probably want to get his guy some
field
some actual combat experience and shit. You know what I mean?
But why get involved in a one that America's directly involved in? You know what I mean? Like Israel, like we're kind of like, like. But
well, if you look at their
I guess
economy,
there's no motive either there.
well, I mean, their economy shit. I mean, they don't got nothing there in North Korea. I mean, nothing to the expanse of anywhere else. The Russians are probably
that's why
off.
they deal in slaves.
Yeah,
the economy's
Russians
doing great because they have a real good process of growing slaves. That's how they run their country.
Russians offering those guys more money than they probably see, or less that's going straight to the government. And so, you know what I mean? They're probably obviously they're getting something in return.
Yeah.
They're getting something. Otherwise, why would you be sending those guys there? The other thing I heard too is that the Russians were supposedly, from what I seen on TV, giving these guys false papers. So when they get captured by the Ukrainians, or they find the bodies, that they're supposedly a different like ethnic group from Siberia. So that's what I was hearing.
But why do that when everyone already knows? You know what I mean?
Well, there's a lot of shit we probably already know, but the Russians and Chinese, deny everything, no matter what it is. Deny. Supposedly, we know that that whole, the whole Corona thing came out of China and shit, but yet they pretty much still deny everything either. Still too, they still deny everything as well. So who the fuck knows?
China scares me. And like I know a lot of people are like, oh, we got them, we got them, we got them. But if you look at just our run times,
They got nuclear too.
Well, not even just that, but we're running on a few hundred years. They're running on 6,000. You know what I mean? They've seen their empire rise and fall, and they saved it every time.
It's just up waves. Everything comes in waves. You got your
but they managed times to keep it together, though. Look at us.
Yeah, but China. But when you look at China's history, that they've been different fragments, different kingdoms, and stuff like that. It took a long time for them to come together as one country that we know it as today. I mean, shit. You look at it
a little bit
in history in recent times. Well, consider recent times. But right before World War II and then right after, they had their own civil war. The nationalists and the communists. You look at a historical point of view, that's not that long ago.
Yeah, but they still managed to keep it together. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's a long-running empire. It's an empire that learned its boundaries and it learned what it was capable of, and now it's becoming even stronger. And it found a blending that actually kind of works. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying I want to live there. I'm not saying I want anything to do with them. But what they're doing is working for them. They've managed to accumulate a shitload of money, become a power, and slowly, not as quickly as we love, but their people are getting a higher level of living. Yes, there's a lot of shit things going on. You got people, there's a lot of shit environment. There's a lot of bad things. And like, Joe Rogan talks about how the people were jumping off the building. They had to put the nets up. I do also believe that, it sucks that our phones are made there, but I don't think those people are even paid employees. I really don't. And that's why they're jumping off the building. And that's why I don't think they would put nets on a building for people that were being paid employees. They would just, hey, if you really hate your job that bad, you can get fired. You know what I mean? Obviously, those people are there under different circumstances. Those are slaves.
Yeah. Because they might something to get certain things, but it's all ran and owned by the state regardless.
Oh, everything is. And, the one thing I've really thought of more lately, too, is, yes, every company is embedded with the government in China, but that's not too different from the way things are here.
Well, yeah, the ways in the last 20 years, especially.
Yes. And the government has become extremely involved in the biggest ones, tech, pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like guns.
Media.
Yeah, media. Like it's the government has embedded themselves in those things. And so it's like we right now are at such a scary point to me. And like we had talked about this with my church, and like I don't know why, but I was like extremely just like, what the hell? Like, how is this even a discussion? Like, and I understand people have some points, and like some people are like, I used to identify as Democrat, and I can't even say I identify as a Republican either, because like to me it's like I can't identify with a party to where that party is supposed to define me. I'm sorry, I am supposed to define the party. The people are supposed to define the party, not vice versa. You don't tell me what our values are. I tell you what our values are. You know what I mean? I've never understood that part. We lose part of the context of like what it means to be the party of the people. The people are the ones that are supposed to dictate what we want, not vice versa. And that's what's kind of become flipped, I think. I don't know if it ever really was like that. But
I think the Democrats, more or less, is get hijacked by American-style communism, I think. And honestly, I think that started with Obama.
Socialism, yeah.
It started with Obama, and it worked its way in the last, 15 years or so. It worked its way in hard, especially the last 4 years. They don't even cover it up anymore. They're flat out, blown out, telling you what it is. And so that's just my opinion about it. I think the Republican Party, most of it, there's obviously segments of it that want to go along with, the American Communist Party, I call them. They more or less want to go lockstep with them. But if you look at it, in my opinion, the Republican Party has, to a degree, took it on what a lot of people are starting to feel and shit. They're kind of running on that. But even with that being said, you still gotta let people know, even in that political party, hey, yeah, because people are siding with you guys, and you're coming out with the values of what the people want, you still gonna be held accountable regardless of what the fuck you call yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. We need it. People need to stop siding with a party. They need to side with their views. Like,
Well, not you gotta whatever and that's it's part of that, and it's also part of holding the people that are elected. You got to hold them to accountability,
whether they're your party or not.
From the beginning, when the country was founded, when you're running for office or you're a politician, you're supposed to be a servant of the people, not the people being your servant. And when you look at over the last 200 some years, when this country's been founded all the way till now, we're completely opposite of that.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because for all these younger kids that want these ideals that I actually believed in at one point. I thought maybe they sound great, but to me, I can never equate a way to make it work. Just because you have too much going out and not enough going in. You know what I mean? It never works because you then lose the people. Like the biggest mistakes that they made in China was nationalizing their agriculture. And Russia did it too. North Korea did it. And North Korea still fucked up from it. I mean, Russia and China have recovered. But
I'll say, when Mao took over we ran the Communist Party, in order to bring China up to speed, when they took over the agricultural shit, they had millions of Chinese starved and shit like that. I don't know if you've seen. I seen on one documentary where they believe that the sparrows or the birds are eating all the crops. In actuality, the birds were eating all the bugs that were destroying the crops. And so when they pretty much try to eradicate a lot of the birds and start bringing the population down for that, insects and all the other pests took over the crop and just destroyed that, and then you had millions of people fucking starving shit. So I mean,
the one big thing too is they the farmers were the rich people, so the farmers they killed, and then the poor people took over the farms, but they had no idea how to farm the land. You know what I mean? Because they didn't own it. Like they didn't understand what was going on, and so you had a lot of that. And I think unfortunately there's always been people who have been true communists at heart because they understand what the power can give them, and they've learned from the mistakes of their past. And so they didn't go after industry that they didn't go to take out industries. They went to control the whole industry. And so like you see the nationalization of agriculture fail, but the nationalization of business looks a little bit different. And I think that was played out in fucking COVID. And like it's a hard leap. But you look at what happened. All the stuff has been corralled to pretty much big businesses like Disney, Amazon, the couple ones that own a couple of the big box stores that are out there. Because and then you're seeing other companies then sell off, and then stop production of their own independent stuff. And they go to one person who can produce it all and just separate the labels for them. That's why you see things that look exactly alike, but are made by two different people. And so it's like, you're just seeing this further coning in of total business. It used to be 4 companies that completely own everything. I think it's now 3. And so it's like you have this pushing in of business, and you're pushing out the small guys. The small guys can't compete anymore because everything is getting more and more expensive. So
you want to rely more on the state than anything else.
And so
I don't know if you remember, but like I remember as a kid. You may not remember because you're this before you were born, and even when you're little.
Yeah,
I remember when Walmart used to pride itself all of its products and shit like that made in the USA. I remember all that.
I don't remember it, but I know it. I've heard of it.
I remember all that and everything. And over time, I think after the dad died and the kids took over the company, not too long after that, you've seen all that go away. All the shit. I mean, when you look at just about everything that you have in your house, the appliances, your fucking shoes, your socks, everything, all fucking comes from China. And that's the reason why you don't see a total break with them, is because they know that if shit hits the fan and we fucking end up having to say go to war with that country for whatever reason, you're gonna see a you're gonna see a lot of fucking shortages with shit in this country. Not to mention that it would take literally years to bring or to manufacture shit in this country again to get it back up to par. Not to mention you would have to make the weapons and ammunition that you would have to use to fight that country you just broke your dependency on. We put ourselves in that.
We've made ourselves extremely vulnerable with outsourcing all of our production. Yeah, no, it's a very, very sad truth, and it's a very idiotic path we've taken, because also too, we've kind of created this symbiotic relationship because they own so much of our debt too, that if we did stop consuming them, but what they're showing us is, hey, we don't need your debt anymore, because they keep releasing larger amounts of it, and no one talks about that. I don't hear anyone talk about it. But I'm sorry, they've
like anybody else. Fuck you, don't pay them.
Well, no, the thing is, they release our debt, and it hurts our dollar on the world stage.
And that so, we keep printing it as well.
But what's going to happen is when BRICS gets to a point where like, hey, we can take it. They're going to fucking release our debt. It'll crash us, but then we'll have to go to them to get anything, because everything will then be turned over to being traded in their currency of choice. And people don't realize what that truly means. We then get into a blockchain system. They then can fucking shut off our bank accounts if they don't like what we say. Like it's gonna, if we don't seriously open our fucking eyes and see what's going on. And I don't like cussing. I never really have, but it's scary, man. Socialism's a thing that is on the precipice, and the only reason I'm scared is because I don't like I used to not like Donald Trump, and then I was like, you know what? Let me give this guy a fair chance, and let me like truly listen to him. He is hilarious, and he's an idiot. Like I shouldn't call him an idiot. He is a charisma. He's a personality. The dude, well,
like Joe Rogan said, he says some wild shit.
Dude, he's just so funny. And like I can listen to this dude just talk all day because it's like I'm watching comedy. You know what I mean? Like,
at the same time, a lot of the shit he's saying, there's a strong amount of truth to it at the same time.
Oh,
it's like, for example, let's say you can own a company of, selling or doing whatever. You might have some employees under you who, personality-wise, you may not like them. You're not going to have a beer with them and hang out with them. But yet this motherfucker's over here in the department making records amount of shit or selling large amounts of shit. He's making you look good. He's doing good for the company overall. At the end of the day, you got to go with someone who can handle the job and can do the job. Just because you got some bitch over here sitting there saying, oh, blah, 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 DEI, equity, inclusion, all that other horse shit. You know what I mean? You got to have someone, let's be honest. You got to have somebody with some balls to run a country. That's just flat out how it is. You got to run it like a business because you got money coming in and you got money going out.
And you got to keep people off of you, like competitors. Yeah.
You have to. There's no other way around it. And then when you look at how the world is now, outside of this country, ain't nobody playing patty cake here or anybody anywhere else.
The world's in flames right now. I feel like, man, we have two massive wars going on that are not too far from each other, and we have two huge powers involved in them.
And the shit hasn't even off in full gear yet either.
No. But, I mean, with Israel bombing Iran and now North Korea moving into whatever you call it, a pattern is emerging. One war gets worse, the other's going to follow suit. And that's not a good thing at all. It's monkey see, monkey do. You know what I mean? Like, hey, they got away with it. All right, let's do it. You know what I mean? And I guarantee what you're going to see is by the new year, you're going to see movement, I think, in a direction of Taiwan.
Because when Well, I mean, of course they're going to make a move because look, you got a guy in supposedly sitting in the White House. He's in Delaware and he's basically eating ice cream right now. You got a guy with dementia who had dementia for the last 4 fucking years, and they claim nothing was wrong. But anybody that has at least a quarter of a brain or half a brain knows the guy got dementia. So you know he ain't pulling the strings. Obama just got a 3rd term. So, and then when you got Kamala, she obviously can't hang for more than an hour doing an interview. That's why she won't go on Joe Rogan. And so she basically was a DEI hire. DEI hire. Can't talk for shit.
No, you said it right. You said it right the second time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, because when she went for the Democratic primaries, she got tore the fuck up by Bernie Sanders and by Tulsi Gabbard especially. You just picked the bitch who came in last as the vice president, and then now this other time around, you don't even have a primary. You just slide this bitch on in there. Oh, she's now she's going to be the new president.
And what happened with Biden right after that? Homeboy comes out in a MAGA hat.
Oh, yeah. And then, but think, like I said, the guy got dementia, and I think part of him kind of was conscientious of what was going on. He probably did it too on purpose and everything else because
that was his middle finger to them, like, you kicked me out? Okay. Because, yeah, the dude's in mental decline for sure. But he still has in moments. You know what I mean? Like, and so with that, it's like he should have stepped down. As a loving American, as a patriot, you should have been able to realize when you're in your regular moments. And maybe now, I'm sorry, hold on. Let me back my ass up real quick. No, he shouldn't have. His wife should have. And the people around him should have talked to him about it and been like, hey, but his wife, not him. I'm sorry. I was speaking completely wrong. I apologize. His wife should have backed him up and been like, hey, we need to get you into a better living situation. This high stress level for someone with dementia is not okay. You know what I mean? Like, even just looking at the guy as a human.
They should have done that 4 years ago. He just should have never ran for president in the first place.
Yeah, they most likely have known, and they still just wanted to ride it out, which, I mean, no, it's not okay. But from the human standpoint of it, like, dude, how could you let this happen to him? Like, you're his family, the people around him, whatever hunters out there doing.
They did, but 2 months before the election is, supposed to take place. And then all of a sudden, Kamala slides in. She doesn't do a primary. She doesn't try to run on the Democrats. They automatically give it to her. And you're going to slide her in. She's supposed to be the next president. Like I said before, a couple minutes ago, she came in dead last. She was the first one to drop out of the Democrat primaries, if I remember right.
I don't know for sure, but I also didn't pay attention to Democratic stuff because I really didn't feel like they had a chance. I did on,
but she's the first one to drop out.
She's just not the right person for this country, and that's all it's to it. She's not a good speaker. You could tell she's either rehearsed or reading off a teleprompter. You don't finish a statement and then hurry up and say a last word when you're thinking of it from memory. I'm sorry, you either read that or sorry, yeah, when it's off the cuff. I mean, but
because she's getting her
orders. She's the easiest one to manipulate. That's why she got the spot. Obviously.
Yeah, she wouldn't be run the country. It'd be her aides, and Obama passed some messages telling her what to do.
I've never really looked into the whole, because I've heard it a lot, like, oh, Obama's running the country, Obama's running the country. I've definitely heard it. I've just never looked into it myself, so I don't really know much on that part of it.
I honestly think he is. When you look at a lot of the shit and things that are going on before, he just picked up where he left off. You put Uncle Joey in there as your fucking front man, and then you
Uncle
just...
Joey?
Yeah, I
have an Uncle Joe.
Yeah, you put Uncle Joey up there, and you just call and text him and tell him what to do and what policies to say. Like I said, that's just my opinion. I mean, a prime example of that, when I was in high school, when you graduate high school, you got to write a paper or some bullshit or a report or something. I can't remember. It was for English, I think it was. Was it for history? I don't know. But you had to write some paper or something. And I picked the topic of the Mexican Revolution. And at that time, when everything was going on, Diaz ran the country of Mexico. So he was letting foreign investors come in there, basically buying up all the land do whatever it is the fuck they wanted to do and shit. Well, anyways, while he was even doing that, people started bitching, complaining that he was always rigging the elections, being the president every time they turned around. So there were a couple of times where he would have a friend of his run for office and basically be the so-called new president, but really he was the one calling the shots and telling his buddy, "Hey, do this, do that, and everything else."
Yeah.
It to me, I think it was the exact same fucking thing. Because seriously, I've seen people with dementia before. How in the fuck, if you got dementia and everybody else knows you got dementia, you're gonna listen and take them seriously and take the orders they give out? Fuck no, you're not. You're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
You're just not. You listen to them, they talk whatever they talk, and you're like, okay, yeah. But you have the shit, you don't know if it's true or what.
See,
Same fucking.
I think the presidency lost its power at a point. I don't know when. I'm guessing when they killed JFK, because they're like, hey, we got him. You want to try us? Like, and I think for a long time, we've been put into this two-party system, the one we fought to get away from because of a lack of true representation of what most Americans feel. And I know, like many others, there's many who have a mixed blend of Democratic and Republican. Old understanding of them, there was a mixture of it. You know, the new now, hijack woke side is like, I don't even understand. But I just I have a hard time, I guess, believing that the president has the power he used to, because you just don't see it. I mean, you see the same elected official or the same appointed officials every time. So why are they keep choosing the same people? Someone's obviously making them, because even across Democratic and Republican, if you go back 15 years plus, I mean, I'm sorry, like maybe five terms, so 20 years, you'll see the same appointees from both Democratic and Republican. It never switched over. Why? What you would think that you would want people who had values that were closer to theirs, right? And the values of the presidents have switched over pretty drastically. You see that it's what the people call the pendulum of correction. You know, when the left takes over, they go to their side, and the overcorrection on the right then brings it back, and we slowly meet towards the middle. That's what we kind of went towards. If that's the case, why the people who are in charge of the laws, who are in charge of enforcing and acting, of putting things together, they're all the same fucking people? It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? And so to me, to think the president has that much power, maybe the years ago, like during the Mexican Revolution, it was easier to do that. But I think at some point we got hijacked by these institutions that are extremely powerful for a reason, because they have one of the most powerful currencies, information. And we've been ran by them, and I don't even know that they are American anymore in essence. I don't, and I'm not speaking about like, I think that there was a major shift after World War II in this country, and I don't know what it's a credit to. I know I've said it before, but there's something, just the way America operated itself completely changed from the protector to the aggressor.
When you look at it, we became the big cock slapping on the table kind of deal. Yeah. Because when you look at it, the British Empire went to shit after World War II.
Hey, give me 30 seconds. I need to go grab a dip, dude. I haven't had a dip in the whole
Go for it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah. No problem.
Cool. Thank you, dude.
No problem.
Oh man. Nicotine. I love it.
Hey, sometimes you gotta help you get you across that moment, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure. But okay, go. You were saying.
Yeah, but like after World War II,
yeah,
the British Empire was basically no more. Germany obviously lost the war. They're in fucking rumble, in rubble and shambles. Russia was all fucked up too for fighting the war as well. So when you look at it, all the so-called major powers, everybody was just either not a power no more or just fell apart because of the war.
Yeah.
And we come out on top and shit. But when you look at it, we just over time you just got too big for your britches. You lost sense of the reality. And then so in my opinion, I think a lot of that shit really came out and things really, really went to shit, in my opinion, when I look back at it. That happened with the so-called war on terror, the Patriot Act. When that happened, we basically gave Uncle Sam a blank check. Oh, you got to protect us, do whatever it is you got to do. With that being said, you basically gave the government free reign to do whatever they wanted to do, however they wanted to do it, when they wanted to do it. And you look at it now that people look back at it and say, hey, this things are fucked up now. This isn't right. This is not how it's supposed to be. Do you honestly think that they're just going to give that back to you?
Unfortunately, it's much easier to input a law than it is to repeal it.
And then now you're letting thousands of illegals come into the fucking country. People haven't even earned it or showed that, hey, I could contribute something. I could be something good in this country, whatever. You not bringing shit to the table. And then, then you got people who are born and raised here who actually might need help or anything else. They don't get shit. Just like you're hearing stories about people that got hit by the hurricane that happened down here a few weeks ago. Two of them, I should say. $750 per household. Here you go. Good luck. Rebuild. What the fuck are you going to do with $750? I went to the store the other day.
You can't even buy a full thing of groceries with that anymore.
No. And then even my girlfriend, when she got some stuff from Walmart, went to pick up. I mean, shit. About 4 years ago, for $150, you got like doubled or tripled to what it was.
It's not stopping either, people.
And the thing is too, like even if Trump gets back in office, that they manage not to rig it, and even if he did get in office, you're gonna see them instigate riots. You're gonna see them instigate shit. They're not gonna stop trying to assassinate him. They're gonna keep doing shit. I think they're trying to get shit so bad between Ukraine and Russia at this point to where he's not going to be able to negotiate anything because shit's so fucked off over there. I seen on X. Sometimes I follow some of the BRICS news on there to kind of see what they're saying, and they're even saying supposedly Israel's asking Russia to mediate between them and Hezbollah, supposedly. How true that is, I don't fucking know. But
I don't see that being true. But then again, I've let other things slip under my radar that I've not caught. But I mean,
I just see
something
today,
like that though. That's something I would have heard some chatter about. It
could be bullshit. I mean, who knows? That's just something I happened to see right there. I haven't heard it anywhere else, but I just happened to cross that when I was looking at my feed and I seen it. So who the fuck knows? I mean,
I could maybe, and then them bombing Iran, and you know what I mean. And Russia's getting whatever you call it's from Iran. So
yeah,
what that doesn't really make sense either, because that would essentially hurt a strategic partner, and then they'd be like, "What the fuck? We're not helping you." You know what I mean? Like that almost makes them an enemy of Russia. At that
no, I know. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That makes absolute sense too.
But
also at the same time,
anything's possible. I don't.
Right.
There's nothing out of the realm of possibilities with nowadays, and I mean, I hate the word nowadays because I use it so much. But in essence, the shit's always been going on. It's just more visible now, and it's become more blatant. Where they're like, "Oh, we don't care," you know, like, and that's kind of scarier than, "Hey, we were hiding it at least," because when they're hiding it, that means that at least someone intelligent's doing it. I don't think them being out in the open has anything to do with them not caring. I think it's more of just they're idiots in doing it. You know what I mean? Like I think I don't know. It's all I know is this whole all of this. Like I expect it to be a couple months out, and I think we're gonna continue to see inflation go up. Gas has been pushed down because of the election. They want people happier. You
Fuck,
see,
99 over at Sam's. I don't see it going down that fast, in my opinion.
dude, it is outrageous because I don't know if you ever follow oil prices at all. Like look at them to kind of see like what's going on here. Like is this justified or not? But what I've seen is the barrel price isn't going that crazy. Um, and it's what's pushing it is the cost of shipping and stuff like that. And they say that's driven by oil too, but you're not seeing this day like yeah, it goes up and down, but not for what we're being charged. I think we're being bent over backwards slowly.
No, and then and then basically the Suez Canal. That basically, I guess, in so many ways, that has slowed down because of the Houthis firing rockets at ships and shit like that over in that part of the world. So you don't got as much traffic and shit going through there. Now everybody's going around everything else, and like I said, that just tacks on the travel time and the price and everything else.
Yeah, you've seen the barrel go up about it looks like maybe $15 max in the earlier part of this year. But I mean, you see it driven down so far and then jumping back up, and then I don't know. I don't feel like the cost of gas is equivalent. I think obviously we're getting hit with inflation that is being slowly applied to us, and what we're seeing for our government's scorecard. I can't think of the word to describe it right now. I don't know. But you're seeing, oh, all these jobs are filled. These jobs are all below poverty level. These jobs are being taken by the immigrants. They're shuffling into these cities who are living in multi-generational homes, which is not how the average American lives. And so if our economy looks like it's doing well on paper, it doesn't mean that Americans are doing well. It means that their jobs are being filled, but look at the price point of those jobs. If it's under 32K, that's poverty level, unfortunately, in this country. And it's even worse. I mean, I think we've seen a declassification of our dollar. And what I mean by that, because I'm uneducated in the terminology of it, is if you were
$50 is like $20 now, dude.
If you were middle class, you are now lower middle class. If you were lower middle class, you are now upper lower class. If you were upper lower class, you are now middle lower class. If you were middle lower class, you are now lower class. And
you're just poor.
Well, motherfucker, you poor.
Poor. Let's just get straight to the shit. You don't got shit.
So the reality of it is when you see that happen in society, you're not doing well, people. You were in either a bad recession, or we're on the very precipice of a depression, and the only reason you're seeing cities still surviving is because they've been pumped with a cash injection again, just like COVID, through immigration, through immigrants, illegal immigrants, who are all putting the money right back into our system.
And then look at the housing market. A regular person can't afford a house, but at the same time, even with that going on, you're starting to hear people talk about the government then giving money to illegals to then get a house. How in the fuck does that work?
Oh.
You know what I mean? How in the fuck does that work? And then not only that, even the jobs that are out there and that Americans do have and do, nobody's gotten a raise for the cost of living.
Oh yeah, no. For what inflation has went through, no.
Yeah, so like I said, $50 now it's like $20. $20 is more like a $10 or $5 bill now.
Dude, yeah, no. I mean, you can't get a candy bar for under $3. I mean, two something.
Yeah,
$2.
It's like it's like the other day we went to a chicken place called Magoo's, right across the street. For both of us to eat, there, like, get something and bring it back to the house, you're looking at maybe about 30 some bucks.
Oh yeah.
Almost 40. A sit down restaurant for two people is $40 when it used to be 20. So can you imagine when you go out to eat with your wife and you got a couple of kids?
Oh, I can.
Fuck. I don't even want to even think about that.
Dude, I stopped. I really did. Like
You got to work to pay to do that.
Well, the whole thing of it is, it's okay. So where I stopped it at was Sunday morning breakfast, because like I wanted to go out and before I wanted to make sure the kids had food, and good food for Sunday for church, and as well I wanted to make it like kind of like a tradition, something we always do, so
Yeah.
they can kind of have that. And then I'm like, dude, I'm spending 60-70 bucks. And the kids at first were getting their own meals, and then we realized like, okay, they're not even touching it really that much, so let's just split it. And so we got it down to 50-60.
It's not a tip either.
And so I'm like, I'm paying for eggs and bullshit, meat and more bullshit, which potatoes aren't total bullshit, but still, it's bullshit. The kids are eating bullshit too, and Brittany's eating bullshit most of the way. Anyways, I'm like, I can go and spend 30-40 bucks on two big ass steaks that are good protein, you know what I mean? Like, it's good. And at that point I was getting eggs from one of my friends. Unfortunately, I knew it was gonna dry up quicker than later, because obviously people can only have so many chickens, but she her eggs are now being more utilized at home. But
oh yeah, they're filling it too.
Dude, I'm honestly I'm this close to picking a fight about having chickens in my neighborhood, because I'm getting sick of it. Like, the eggs, dude, you can feel the difference. Like, so I tried just the eggs with some chorizo, and I ate like 5 or 6 eggs, dude. And I didn't have to. And like, I eat like every 4 hours. I don't have any fat on my body, so like I need to, like, I intake at least a minimum of 120 grams of protein to about 100, maybe 180.
Yeah, look, good. You're able to show your flat stomach. You don't even want to see my shit.
Hey, yours took a lot more work than mine did, all right?
Like, cut that away, fat fucker. You know what I
mean? Yours took a lot more work than mine did.
Yeah,
but
40 years of work, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But and so I eat a lot, but I ate those eggs and I was like, dude, I'm not even hungry right now. I'm like, I was like, boom, energy level amazing, and no like dips and valleys. And like, I thought I could only get that from meat, in which I was only able to get that from store-bought meat. The regular store-bought eggs, I didn't know, but those are already like a month out, or like 2 weeks out by the time you get them, 3 weeks out. And so it's like, you can think about it. And I know fruit, when you pick an apple, within a week, it has lost over half of its, like about half to maybe it's 60%. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way, or remembering it the wrong way, but it's lost a significant amount of its nutritional value. Think about that. That's how everything works. You know what I mean? Everything depreciates. It's just it's getting broken down by nature as soon as it comes out.
That, or unless you're canning it or preserving it, that helps to last a little bit longer. Then
yeah, if you're doing a canning yourself, that's definitely better than what they use in stores and stuff like that. Because using glass jars.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not as good as fresh, but if you're looking to buy in bulk and you want it to last a little bit longer, I mean, that could be an option.
No, that's a good one too, but you want to use glass and not can it.
Yeah.
Because what most people don't know is every can that we have has paint on the inside of it.
Oh yeah, lead and all kinds of shit. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Like they still do. Like I met this dude and he's like, yeah, I work for a beer company, and I guess because there's like a small percentage of our population has such a strong taste bud, they can actually taste like very, very significant differences in stuff. And I guess they did the test on him and he had it. He's like, dude, I make like $55 an hour to drink beer all day. And because when they get new paints that are cheaper to produce, that are easier to apply, cost less in production, they apply them, and then they have him drink to test the beer to see if he can taste it. And he's like, there's paint in every single can. I'm like, dude, I never even thought about that. And from
Not that either until now that you're bringing it up and thinking about
dude,
it.
it's messed up. There's
Start
no
thinking
way
about
that doesn't leach into what you're drinking. It's physically impossible. Even if you can't taste it, some of that chemical is going into that drink, no matter what. And that's probably a good amount of the microplastics, because I could easily see it that you know what I mean? Like, we have so many microplastics going into our body, and yeah, they say a lot of it's from PVC piping, but there
Yeah.
has to be something else too. And I'm thinking it's there's something in that paint that's doing it to our body too, because
Well, look at when
we
they first started. Look at when they first started doing canning in the 1800s. People are getting sick from lead because you're using lead. So just like anything else, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
dude,
Like
it's
all kinds of shit.
it's crazy when you think about it though. So like, anyways, back to that whole thing. So I could get 2 steaks and cook that and make some eggs, and steak and eggs in the morning. Dude, who doesn't want steak and eggs in the morning for cheaper than what I would go out to eat for?
Yeah.
Where's why am I going out to eat? Yeah, it sucks cooking, it sucks cleaning. In my eyes though, I can eat a whole lot healthier if I just go and buy the stuff. Yeah, meat is everything's processed. I know meat's processed. Yeah, it's caught off the cow. That's processed.
So even unless you got a ranch, whether you're getting it from, say, your buddy, prices have gone up from the ranchers themselves or the farmers themselves. The price has gone up for that because then they got to raise the animal feed and take care of them. So I mean, it's almost come to the point, yeah. To some degrees, depending on what you're making or eating, yeah, you could save a little bit of money, but now shit's so fucking high across the board.
Oh yeah,
Like it's like you're getting shafted either way.
chicken is encroaching on steak prices, on old steak prices. That's fucking insane when you think about it. And
Even fucking pork, even pork.
And they have an overpopulation of pigs in Texas. They shoot them out of helicopters, dude. What? Like, we're not in a shortage of pork. Like,
because they're I mean,
and
when you
that's
look
gamey meat. I understand that, but still, like,
yeah,
that can feed people, and I'm sure they do feed it with them with the pigs that get killed. I'm sure they do. They do very generous things with those, but still, it's like things are just
wild pork is pretty good because we had some of that.
I had it.
Last month, our lodge, we had they usually do like a table lodge is like a dinner for the lodge. We have like once a year, like a big dinner kind of deal, and they call it the Beast Feast because the theme was that we had like elk and venison meatloaf, we had the wild pork. I'm trying to remember what else we had. I'm drawing a blank right now.
Well,
But basically, we had a variety of different food there that was wild, like wild meat and stuff, and it was pretty good. I liked all of it, and so I mean, when you look at it, I mean, you look at certain states that have hog problems. I would think that if you want to get that nuisance or problem under control, and you kind of want people to, have food and shit, you should throw up some kind of tax incentives. Hey, you bring in X amount of hogs or whatever, this and that, you could possibly be onto something. I mean, there's people down here, you hear about trapping them and shit like that. A bunch of fucking hogs.
I think the problem then would stem to is people understanding how to cook that meat, because I don't know anything about cooking wild game.
I'm sure. I mean, I'm not an expert either, but I mean, I'm sure there's a certain way you can get that information where you know how to process and prep something the correct way. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's certain things you would have to look for because just like anything you catch, even farm raised animals, some could be sick. Could have a parasite or some shit. I'm sure there's ways you can tell and look for certain things. And then not only that, you got to cook that meat long enough too.
Yeah.
And prepare it a certain way. So